Nest.js, a progressive Node.js framework for building server-side applications, was first released in 2017 by Kamil Myslivits.
Kamil Myslivik.
Nest.js has become one of the most structured and developer-friendly frameworks in the Node.
Okay, I guess he did that to like be funny, basically. Yeah, but yeah, that's how he. I'm pretty sure that's like what maybe I know. Let me not see it because next time I mess up his name. So
Was first
let me be
released in
quiet.
2017 by Kamil Myslivits.
Kamil Myslivik.
Nest.js has become one of the most structured and developer-friendly frameworks in the Node ecosystem. We use it to build applications that are modular, maintainable, and scalable, even as projects grow in complexity. The beauty of Nest.js is that it brings structure to Node.js development without adding unnecessary bloat. It's TypeScript first, so type safety is baked in, and it enforces a modular architecture with controllers, services, and modules. It's so organized a beginner could follow it. Controllers handle incoming requests and orchestrate responses, while services contain the actual business logic. If you want to pass data into your endpoints, you simply use data transfer objects or request parameters, which Nest.js validates automatically if you configure it properly. When your application
Okay. You know what? I may use Next.js, I guess, for my next application then, because I think I only, well, not think, I only use Node, and I think I use Node and Express. So, if this can somewhat help improve the way how I build my backend for my applications, I think this should be a very good framework that I can use for my project. So because he's basically saying that as long as the logic and everything is completed properly, as long as everything aligns properly, you basically will get a good result or a good structure from Next.js. So that's pretty interesting.
follow it. Controllers handle
Oh, and he says it's very beginner friendly, which is another very key and important aspect of that framework. So
incoming requests and orchestrate responses, while services contain the actual business logic. If you want to pass data into your endpoints, you simply use data transfer objects or request parameters, which Nest.js validates automatically if you configure it properly. When your application grows, you can easily split functionality into separate modules, making it easier to maintain and debug. Nest.js also supports a variety of built-in features like GraphQL, WebSockets, microservices, and dependency injection, so you don't need to assemble a dozen libraries just to get a fully functional backend. The main reason you
I think so. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, what he's basically trying to say there is that you don't need to create like so like how Node has all those different libraries. I'm guessing what he's trying to say is that you don't need to create all those different like models and I'm guessing maybe controllers as well. You don't really have to create all those files. Like I'm guessing you could just create like one file and it basically handles everything. But we'll see what he means from there.
built-in features like GraphQL, WebSockets, microservices, and dependency injection, so you don't need to assemble a dozen libraries just to get a fully functional backend. The main reason you might want to use Nest.js isn't just the framework itself, but the ecosystem and best practices it encourages. It works seamlessly with Express or Fastify, gives you decorators and middleware to
What the
handle
hell was that?
cross-cutting concerns, and scales naturally as your codebase grows. Developers love it because it feels familiar to Spring Boot users. To install Nest.js, we first need to install
Yeah, and Spring Boot. I was talking about Spring Boot as well too, which is another application. Well, sorry, another framework that I will look to use in my other applications now because I think that I don't. If I'm being very honest, I don't think I only use like Node. I don't think I use any of those different frameworks. So who knows? Maybe by me like implementing those other frameworks that it can help with my project to be more scalable, be easier for anyone to use it. So yeah, I still have to get into Spring Boot. So if you say that Spring Boot is basically as easy as Nest.js or Nest.js is simple as um as Spring Boot, I think that's a big W, to be honest.
and middleware to handle cross-cutting concerns, and scales naturally as your codebase grows. Developers love it because it feels familiar to Spring Boot users. To install Nest.js, we first need to install Nest CLI, which is basically the command line tool that will serve as the boilerplate generator for your project, and we can do that by running npm install -g at nest.js CLI, Then we create a Nest.js folder, and to create the project itself, we simply need to run nest new first project, choose our package manager. I'm going to choose npm here, and voila. We all the boilerplate code for a Nest.js project generated, structured in an easy to understand fashion, and ready to go. It's super minimal, main boots the app. App module wires things together, the controller handles requests, the service holds the logic, and from there, you just keep adding modules, controllers, and providers as your app grows. This has been
So yeah, I was correct. So yeah, it looks like you don't have to create like multiple different controllers. So you can just use with Next.js, create all your controllers, all your modules, all your services and stuff like that in that one file. So that is a yeah, I may use Next.js in my next project for sure, because this is I like this a lot, because it is a lot to like manage a bunch of different a bunch of different files. But even though, because you see, there's obviously benefits and there's obviously negatives when it comes to things like this, because if you're having, because you may need a bunch of controllers depending on how large your website may be, right? So your code or your file could become a bit overwhelming with a bunch of code, right? So some people may argue, well, then that's why you have different files and you put the controllers, or you put the codes in those different files, right, in the different folders, and your code is spread apart from there, which makes it easier to read. But it's like another issue that you run into is that, well, now you have a bunch of files, right? A bunch of files in your VX, was in your IDE, right? So it's like, do you want, like, choose your poison, which one you want? Do you want, a bunch of files, or do you want a bunch of codes in one file? So this was a very good video. I won't lie, and I'm most definitely going to use Next.js in my in other projects for sure. What is here? Let's move on
Remember
to the
when
next
everyone said
one. So let's move on to devs are more broke than ever. So let's react to this video, see what he's talking about.